For those with good taste.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? It's your boys from For Those With Good Taste. I'm Matt. He's Lenny.
What up?
We're back in Good Taste Studios, and I would say that it's a little hot today, huh,
I was
Len?
going to say, you said like back in Good Taste Studios, you should say we're back in the hottest fucking room known to man.
Well, some people would say if you can't handle the heat, get out of the kitchen. I think we're going to stick it out today.
Yeah, so I do apologize ahead of time for anybody who happens to be like, hearing fan noises in the background. We tried it without the fan, and it was just a bloody nightmare.
And I genuinely think that you guys would have been proud of us.
Yeah.
We stuck it out, but it just got to a point where we're like, the content is going to suffer if we don't get some oxygen in here.
Some people are heavy petters. Matt is a heavy sweater.
Oh, 100%. I
Yeah.
told you about those deodorant commercials where
Yeah.
they're like, are you light, medium, or heavy? Your boy's a heavy hitter when it comes to the sweating, but I think I'm doing okay.
I've had a
and
friend or two who have needed to have prescription deodorant, so I understand, dude.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I thought like the $20 degree bars where they're like, I think that they don't say it's like heavy duty.
Yeah.
And you're like,
There's a grade higher.
The deodorant stick's about this big, and it's like $20 for that. It better be
Well,
solving
Matt,
something for me.
It's like when we were teenagers and we bought weed from like, weed dealers, and it would be, like this is like some mids. And then like, but you could also buy like the OG Kush or like
Yeah.
some crazy strand. And
You got
it'll
the
fuck you
premium
up.
stuff.
But you didn't know that like a few years later it'd become legal and there was literally going to be medical grade that could really fuck your day up.
Changes the game.
Yeah.
And when it comes to changing the game, Len, I would say that we kind of closed the chapter with the Mighty Ducks Game Changer last week.
On to the next.
And it's on to the next. So what have you just recently finished?
Well, so I just finished up Jurassic World, the TV series animated on Netflix this past week, in preparation for freeing up some time because we got some stuff coming up in the next coming weeks, right? But yeah, Jurassic World Season 3. I again was pleasantly surprised by this series. If you're a fan at all of Jurassic World, I'll keep saying it. Watch it. Basically, this season lines up with movie 2.
Okay.
So it's basically the time period prior to the second movie, and then you get basically the very beginning of the second movie. So in the second Jurassic World, you got the part where the guys are going to take the like
they basically have to retrieve the dinosaurs.
Yeah. And you get the scene where they're in the helicopter and the thing comes up out of the water and eats the person. You get that from like an animated perspective
from a different
angle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And that's something I've
you
really
might have just
enjoyed.
sold me on that alone.
Yeah, and like so that's something I've really enjoyed about the series is that like they do a really interesting way of intertwining the movies into what's actually happening on here.
And I would imagine it looks pretty cool getting to see like the animated version of it.
Yeah, and
right?
they do a good job with, I mean, it's a kid show, so like it's not blood and guts or anything like that, but they do a good job of making it entertaining, I think, even for a person like myself who's obviously an adult. Yeah,
that's something that you can appreciate, and I think animated series just in general are really stepping their game up, whether it's visually how they're looking or just how they're telling the story. So it's good that you ended up finishing season 3 and kind of coming out of it feeling like you're still enjoying it.
And they left us with they've done a good job every single season with leading. Like you kind of get to this point where it's like, well, eventually they're gonna have to get off the island. So like,
what's the next step?
But at the end of every season, they find they're finding good ways to keep this story going for these kids. And mind you, like we're at the point now in season 3, they've been on the island for 6 months.
Yeah.
By themselves.
Yeah.
So it's like
with all this crazy shit
it's
going
a lot.
on.
It's they filled in a lot of time with pretty good storytelling. So yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised. If anybody else is watching it, please I'd love to talk to somebody about it. I literally know nobody else who has seen it. But you are watching something that I think a lot of people are watching, Matt. And I got the vibes last week that you were using other people as scapegoats for your actual feelings. You were like, you found ghostwriters. You were like, oh, there's people on the internet.
You're saying I pulled a Drake?
Yeah, you were
That's
like,
not okay,
there's
dude.
people on the internet, and it was like you on fake fucking.
You're saying I had my burner accounts,
yeah,
dude.
and you're like, dude, like,
all right.
Bad Batch is terrible, and you're just like, what? So I'm like, yeah, cite your sources. You had none. So let's get your true feelings this week. Can we let down the burner accounts?
Yeah.
Can the real Matt please stand up?
Full transparency here. I'll show off the blonde wig because the real Slim Shady is standing up. Man, I got through this last episode and I was pessimistically optimistic, as we tend to say here.
Yeah, we've been there, done that, huh?
And I feel like I just got another filler episode. And we're talking about great animes, great animation series. The best animes have some fillers, but they have some substance to them. We're getting an introduction to characters that we've known from the final season of the Clone Wars. We got Trace and Raffi, who are these two women who knew Ahsoka Tano. And then they just drift away and they're off working for somebody who we don't quite know who they are. Omega just turns out to be a kid that we really don't like, just keeps getting into mess. And the Bad Bunch, the only real cool storyline is that Wrecker hit his head. Wrecker's the big bad muscular guy.
I can put two and two together on that one.
He hit his head and he's starting to show signs that the programming that led to the... Oh, no spoilers, right?
I mean, you can't spoil it for me, I promise.
All right, you gave me a look like, hey, don't go too far.
Well, I don't even know what's going on, so don't.
So a head injury has affected Wrecker, and it's starting to show signs that things are not going in the good in the best direction.
Matt, I did want to, I'll always just try and play devil's advocate for everybody who likes this show, even though I've never seen anything from it. So if I could for a moment just say this, Matt, and you are just glistening, you look stunning.
Sorry, buddy.
So, to my knowledge, there was about 700 episodes of the Clone Wars, right?
I would say a little less than 700, but you're about there.
All right. There's another, say, 400 episodes of Rogue Squadron. I'm going to always call it that.
No, that's definitely not what it's called, but I like where your head's at.
Help me.
Are you talking Rogue One?
No, the other Rebels. Sorry,
Rebels. Yeah, no. Okay.
So there's about 400 episodes of Rebels, right? So cumulatively, I would just assume there must have been a ton of filler in those episodes.
I'm sure there has been, but...
And I only say that, Matt, to ask you, do you not think that potentially you're in it for the long haul with this series? And speaking personally on something I could talk about, right? Arrow. Love Arrow.
Yeah.
But I think, and I've said on here, I believe before, that 20 episodes, 22 episodes for a season... It's too much.
It's too much.
And you end up with a storyline gets built for a couple episodes, and then you have 4 or 5 episodes that nothing happens. I don't know how many episodes there's supposed to be in this season of
But it almost seems like
Bad Batch. But
when I look at Arrow, there was almost a method to the madness where they had episodes that were focused on him on the island, and you're getting the parallels that he's facing when he gets back to Star City, right?
Yeah, but you also get episodes where they're just chasing a bad guy for the entirety of the episode, and it doesn't play anything into the grander scheme of stuff.
I guess for me, it's we're taking characters that were newly introduced to a show that we loved, and what I would think would be a lot of substance coming in a short amount of time. If you're only giving me 10 episodes.
So that's how many episodes we're getting in this season? It's 10?
I believe that there's supposed to be 10 episodes.
See, then I can. That's what I was trying to get down to. Is if we're going to be in it for the 100 and some odd episodes the Clone Wars got, right? Then I think it's okay to have some filler in there. But if you're only giving me a 10 episode season, it's the same thing I said with Mighty Ducks. It's 16. That's not
okay. So they're getting 16 episodes.
So I think that's a little more fair.
Okay,
don't you? Right?
Yeah, maybe it came in a little hot there.
No, and I'm not saying you're wrong because obviously I've not seen more than 23 minutes of the series.
Yeah.
But I just think that some of it could be that in this type of series, you're going to get a few seasons out of it, right?
Yeah, maybe I'm being a little bit too hard on them. Like you said, I am invested. I am going to stick it out.
In that it's just like being fans of a sports team,
weeks.
Right?
Yeah, back-to-back weeks. We're not delivering the goods that I thought we were intending to deliver. But if you disagree with me, hit us in the chat. Let us know what you're thinking. I am going to stick with it. I'm even more excited knowing that there's 16 episodes, so we have something to look forward to. I would say thank you, Disney Plus, for that. And then I would also say thank you to Disney Plus for something else, Len.
Yes, the return.
The return of, would you call him the One? Like Neo?
Yeah, sure.
Because
I don't think so. He wears a leather jacket.
Well, the reason I say that, Len, is because he's the only person, he's the one person that I can think of that can return as the Punisher.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I don't agree because I would love to see Thomas Jane don the leather jacket again.
Again, I mean, we're 20 years removed from him.
Okay, dude, give me a weird time travel thing.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm not saying coming back as Batman. Dude.
I'm not knocking it, but I'm certainly Michael Keaton's a different beast, and don't you dare compare him, sir.
We're a pro Keaton podcast. I know that
100%. We're also a pro Jon Bernthal podcast. So we've talked about podcast. So we've talked about how much we love him on The Walking Dead. I've genuinely enjoyed him on The Punisher. I don't think you actually watched the Punisher, so I'm gonna say that you get we're just gonna completely bypass your opinion
good
altogether.
news. About 4 months ago, I watched one more episode.
Over you, dude. Hit us in the chat. Let us know how freaking ridiculous it is that this man hasn't even invested any time in the Punisher at all.
Well, tell me what I'm missing, man. Like,
no, man.
Is it nobody sold me on why I really need to kick down the doors on this, but it's not to say that I'm not with you on this, dude, because I do find that he is the perfect casting for the character. But it's a little heavy-handed. And I think that's where I've been a little. It's like Daredevil too. I love Daredevil, but it's a little heavy-handed. Whereas, like you tell me, like, ooh, who else do I want to play Thomas Jane, or play Punisher? It's like that version of the Punisher was like very.
But
like,
I'm asking
campy. And
I'm asking a loaded
serious.
question because you don't even really know him as the Punisher.
But I watched him on the season of Daredevil that he did.
You did, but it's not the same.
He was in a lot of that series, though.
I know, but it's not the same.
I saw him break out of prison.
It's not the same.
Okay.
I'm going to argue with you. I'm going to stand on that argument. And I'm going to say thank you to Disney Plus for bringing him back for what appears to be, he's going to be opposite Moon Knight in their new Moon Knight series. So something to look forward to there. We're probably going to get a different perspective. I don't imagine he's going to be any less badass.
Yeah, so apparently, Matt, as you've informed me prior to recording, because what typically happens here is I know everything on the movie front, but I actually have no context when it comes to comic books, whereas you actually read some of this stuff.
Yeah,
and you were able to tell me that Moon Knight is basically just a poorly named Batman.
Well, I didn't say that. See, and that's you putting words in my mouth, and I'm not going to stand for that.
Those words are mine.
But we do say yes on this podcast. And yes, I did tell you that he is an equivalent of Batman. He would be Marvel's equivalent of Batman. They're both bazillionaires, I guess is the word that you can use.
Yes.
But Moon Knight brings a little bit of a different element because he doesn't just have the Bruce Wayne rich guy profile or persona to stick to. He's got multiple alter egos that he's working with.
Yeah, I'm getting real like Masters of Disguise vibes. Like he's going to be kind of Dana Carvey-esque.
I'm looking forward to seeing how they're going to tell the story. I can't believe you just did that. The turtle one isn't even his best disguise.
I know.
You know that, right?
No,
I think it's the Cuban guy when he's at the party. And I'm not even going to go there and try and do the accent because I'm not in the right frame of mind, but that is one of the best movies of all time.
Oh, sure.
And that's not me speaking in hyperbole. That is definitely one of the best movies of all time.
Top tenor for you, dude? Okay.
I mean, you can't knock it, dude.
Dude.
And I throw out ratings like they're...
yeah, I mean, that's high rating, probably on Master of Disguise. They didn't give a sequel.
If you're disagreeing with me, I got to know. It didn't need a sequel.
But
that's how you ruin a great movie.
Oscar Isaac's performance as Moon Knight is going to be heavily influenced, as he apparently plays like a taxi driver to kind of keep it on the streets, but he also plays like a playboy rich man when he wants to get laid.
He's a taxi driver in the streets, but a billionaire in the sheets.
Ooh, yeah.
You know?
Those are 1,000 bread counts.
Like you can
dude, you're on a cloud when you sleep in that bed.
You can for sure work. And I mean, if you're getting tips as a taxi driver and you're making millions, you're probably doing well for yourself.
Matt, can I ask a side question?
You certainly can.
So like, you've stayed in a couple hotels in your life, right?
Unfortunately, more than I care to speak of.
On average, what would you say you normally spend for like one night at a hotel?
It's at least, I mean, if you don't want to end up in like a Fleabag motel, you're spending at least maybe $115, $120.
Okay, that's probably fair. Maybe a little less if you catch a good deal or something like that, depending on the time of the year. So hypothetically, how much would you pay to sleep for a night in like Bill Gates' bed on his like nice sheets?
So you're talking
like
about,
I'm talking to like sleep in the best bed you've ever slept in. Maybe it's a water bed in your mind. I don't know. Could be any kind of bed, but like
you're talking about the luxury Airbnbs.
Sure.
Right?
Like what would you pay for one night in the nicest bed you've ever slept in?
I'd have to take out a loan, but I'd go maybe $30K for a night.
Because I know I don't know if me and you have talked mattresses. Like,
oh yeah, way more than I care, to be honest.
So I don't know if we've done that on here, but like I definitely don't sleep on a great mattress. I don't know how much, because like I was talking about, this actually goes into another conversation I had recently about, and I think we talked about it on the podcast a little bit. How much you would pay for like one night of going to like a sporting event, right?
Yeah,
like what's the dollar amount that you would set? And it kind of goes hand in hand there, where I'm like, well, I said I wouldn't spend $1,000 on like a ticket to go somewhere for 3 hours to enjoy a concert, maybe. But I think I'd spend way more than $1,000 for a night on like the nicest bed I've ever slept on.
I mean, I did spend a lot of money on the bed that I currently sleep on. And I will tell you that I think once you get to a certain level of comfort with a bed and a mattress, I don't think it gets any better than that, dude. It's like when they say that if you make $150,000, going to be as happy as you could ever be with money.
That's probably a lie.
I don't know. And maybe that's why Moon Knight decides to be a taxi driver.
To kind of like keep it like
He wants
relatable.
to stay grounded.
Yeah,
you know?
I respect that.
And who knows? If he has an alter ego as a comedian, maybe he gets better material that way. It could be either way. We could probably figure out exactly what type of bed he sleeps on if we were to Google it.
Bill Gates or Moon Knight?
Moon Knight.
Okay, you think he has a Steely like
Because
sponsorship?
I do think that it gets to the point where if you're a billionaire, there's only one mattress that you buy. I don't think there's a bunch of mattresses out there
it's
that
a Steely
cost $1 bajillion.
Posturepedic, no?
No, I don't think so. Sleep Number.
Okay.
Like the most expensive Sleep Number you can imagine.
What's the one where you put like eggs in it and the eggs don't crack? Have you seen that one?
I have, and most of those videos look fake. I don't think that's a real
No,
egg.
I'm pretty sure that's real.
No,
you can sleep on
edit.
an egg.
You know about editing, dude. You
We're
could
barely.
you could very surely tweak that next second and make it look like a real egg.
Okay.
I don't think it's real.
So you think it's like a green screen egg? It's a stunt double egg.
I think you'd be surprised what you can do with a green screen.
I wonder if they used a white egg or a yellow egg. That's the real question.
Like before
It was
or
a
after?
brown egg, sorry.
Before or after? Because they want you to see it, so it's more than likely a brown egg.
But then it broke and you think it's a white egg?
I don't know, man. Editing. That's all I'm saying. You can do a lot of different things with it.
Dude, what is happening?
We've digressed a little bit.
Yeah.
So we were talking about Moon Knight. There's not a lot as far as dates for when the series is coming out.
Nope, just a
But
lot
it has
of
been
hearsay.
A lot of hearsay, and we're not even really sure if this is all Jon Bernthal is returning as the Punisher for. So a lot of interesting things there. I'm excited for it, but I would put my level of excitement. I'm kind of waiting for more news to come out. What about you?
I'm with you. You know,
Yeah.
I thought it was just an interesting little tidbit, and it seems like the good parts of the Marvel Netflix agreement are sticking around with the news that what's his name is coming back as Daredevil, and now with Jon Bernthal
You got
is
that.
also getting confirmed to come back. Let's just get Vinny D'Onof's back, and that's all I really need.
Well, I feel like at this point, all signs are pointing towards that direction. Right?
If they don't bring back Vinny D'Onof's, we got an issue. Am I right?
If they don't get Vinny D'Onof back, we riot.
Yeah, let's write that one down on the sign.
But again, we don't have any dates, so let's talk about something that there is a date for, Len.
Is there a date for it?
Yeah, they said August 2023.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, see, I did
All
my
right,
research,
dude, thank
buddy.
you. Is this like when you told me tomorrow?
No. I see
War
we're
is
cited,
already-
dude. I have it right here. But I don't need to bring it up. Boom, I will bring it up.
Yeah, 2023.
2023, baby.
Sweet, dude.
And we're talking about TMNT being, how would you say, fronted by Seth Rogen and his team.
It's probably reboot it as well.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's appropriate.
I was trying to make it seem like mysterious.
Do you think it's weird that it's like been hard for them to be successful with this franchise?
I think it's tough to beat what you're working with originally, right? Because those movies, Secret of the Ooze, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I love those movies.
Yeah, dude. When they go to Japan back in time, that's pretty sweet.
It's and I'll even tolerate the collaboration with the Power Rangers for that one episode.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But
That
there's
was a weird series.
There's a lot of things that you can get wrong with this type of series, with this franchise. And I think we've unfortunately kind of experienced that. I think riding the Megan Fox train, maybe not the best idea.
I actually disagree, Matt.
Really?
I think the casting for me of the Michael Bay ones, I'm 100% biased. Like dude, I mean, you cast fucking Oliver Queen as Casey.
No, I know.
So
I don't disagree with that
that's
one.
pretty great.
I don't disagree with that.
I think Megan Fox is far superior as April than the chick in the original ones.
No, I get that, but we didn't. All right, I'm not going to disagree with you there. Valid point.
The issues with the new one are probably more Michael Bay related, and I don't even think it's issues with the movies that he made. I think it's issues with him. I think it's like
his style,
his stock.
Yeah,
I think his stock is like not that high. He's always going to get money from major companies to make movies, but I don't think that his stock in the general eye and the public's eyes is that high. I mean, realistically, every Transformers movie he came out with after the third, I think, lost money. So the Extinction, the fourth one, lost money, and then the Knights of the Round Table thing that they did in the fifth one lost money, right? Yep. So he's just not where he was. I don't know. Did he have anything to do with Bad Boys 3, though?
I think he did.
Can you pull IMDb and just tell me if he was like an executive producer on that or anything? Because, he's a guy who built his career in the 90s and he carried into the early 2000s. He's made movies I enjoy, and if I want to watch like a popcorn movie, I think he that's his style, but it didn't people didn't like that with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Like, I think that they thought the size was weird of them. They had to dial that back in the second one.
No, you're 100% right. And again, like, it's not to say that Megan Fox was terrible in it. I just think that she... What am I looking at?
I'm looking at writers and directors. It's right there. No, he's not
not part of it?
in there. Well, so go to writers and where it says 4 more credits.
You kind of feel like he'd be there, right?
I'm not shocked because I think that like they probably wanted to make
distance
the property
themselves from it.
I don't even know if they want to distance him. I think it's just, I was having a conversation with Dee yesterday about like who is more responsible for Bad Boys being as popular as it is. Is it
that's a good conversation.
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith, or is it Michael Bay? I tend to think that it's a perfect storm because when that movie came out in the 90s, both of them were
on the rise.
Yeah, both in the proper points to, Will Smith, everybody knew that he was going to be that guy. Martin Lawrence was one of the best comics in the world at the time period, right? And I also think Téa Leoni, the girl in the first one, I was saying to Dee that I think she doesn't get enough credit
because she did really
how
well
good she is in that movie. But you can't take away from like that's where Michael Bay, the stylized like Michael Bay's shots, the ones where you're getting like the
explosions in the back with you,
or
guys,
like it's just
walking
the
forward.
Miami sunset behind Will Smith as you pan up his body and like you hit like the sunglasses coming off or something. It's just there's a certain style that he brought to these movies that I think you can't go without. But yeah, in the late 2000s here, well, not late 2000s, but the early 2020s, the late 2010s. Yeah, I think he just hasn't had the same clout.
No, it makes sense, man. And when you talk about his stock kind of being on the dip, it's like you really can't say anything bad about those first 3 Transformers movies, but then just as much as you really can't say anything bad about those 3, what came to follow is almost terrible. And everything that he's been a part of since then, it always has that same style of explosions and ridiculous visuals, right? And it hasn't really evolved since then.
No,
right?
it's very stagnant. So Seth Rogen, let's talk about his take on this, right? Yeah. I have to imagine, first of all, it's going to be a funnier take.
Yeah.
Where do you stand on Seth Rogen, the actor? And Seth Rogen, the writer, because I think anything you've watched him act in, he's probably written. So
yeah, see, for me, Seth Rogen, there was almost a time where he had like those Kevin Hart moments where everything that was coming out had Seth Rogen's name on it, whether he was
a very hot property.
Right, he was a hot property. And
Superbad, obviously, and then for the next like 5 years after that was like very...
Yeah, but you say like he... From a writer's view, it starts with Superbad, right? But then...
Even probably before that.
Like his acting started way before that.
Because it was probably 40-Year-Old Virgin, actually, because he's writing 40-Year-Old Virgin. Freaks and Geeks definitely helped too.
Damn, you're throwing out some gems.
Yeah,
right now.
so yeah,
So you're I think it almost sounds like I'm biased at this point. For me, so there was a point where Seth Rogen was anything he was in, I was gonna watch it. Anything that he was a part of, I was gonna watch it. And you kind of felt like there was almost a pattern, like we're talking about with Michael Bay in a sense. But then it came to a point where even if the content was very similar, I think of Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
He found a unique take. Like I think that's where the strength that him and the other writer Evan, that he works with, right? I think that's where they've always had interesting takes. Judd Apatow deserves credit in there too.
I was going to say Judd Apatow was part of some of those projects.
They find a way to take ideas that have certainly been done, whether it's like the Superbad, like that feeling of dazed and confused, like stuff.
And it seems way more grounded.
Yeah,
right? It's more realistic, more relatable.
Because they make it relating to stuff that they thought about or saw when they were kids. Like, I mean, they was talking about Superbad was written when they were like 13 years old. Like, it wasn't written when they were adults. They just kept...
And still a classic today,
owning it. It's one of the best comedies of all time, I think, personally. But yeah, his career since then, he has found a way. He has a niche. He definitely has a niche.
But his ability to make it really speak to the viewer,
well, we're talking about doing one of his movies for 3, 2, 1 spoiler, right? Like, so I think that the fact that we're talking about doing a movie that he just came out with a year ago or 2 years ago is big just to say where he's at. So I think the reason I'm optimistic for what he's going to bring to this franchise, for one, I think he can bring some of the humor. I also think too that he's very similar in age to me, to you, and we grew up on the
similar
franchise.
Things, yeah.
So it doesn't always work this way, but I hope having a person who's a fan of the property will bring some interesting, unique things. Now, the issue is, does he get the permission to do what he probably wants to do from
a comedy standpoint.
well,
from,
like, from just the higher ups and like, because any idea, like, there's plenty of times that properties do really well but get sold and then things change and change. And we were talking about last week how John Krasinski is able to keep A Quiet Place so good because his hands are primarily
he has the creative power. Yeah, absolutely. But you gotta hope that the team that he's working with, it's the same team that he paired with for was it Neighbors and Neighbors 2?
Yeah, Sorority Rising,
which he was also a part of. You gotta hope that they're gonna have enough creative control, at least from the making of the movie, to whoever's going to dice it and cut it up. It gets interesting at that point, but you got to hope that there's going to be some type of DNA that he can kind of stick with. I mean, I loved him in the interview. Like,
I've never actually watched the interview.
Have you never? Okay. No. So I love,
I'm familiar with it. You saw, you won't, not to kill your thing here. You saw he's not willing to work with James Franco anymore.
Why?
James Franco's been canceled.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I guess that.
And he
sense.
just kind of like, but the thing is, as of a couple of years ago, he was still standing up for James Franco, and has since now in the past couple months been like, I was wrong. Like and I'm not going to be working with him any longer, basically. And like, you think about dynamic duos like those guys.
I mean, it's tough to think of them not working together, right? They've done Pineapple Express. When you talk about all-time comedies, that's another one for me.
But the interview, sorry.
But the interview, no. What I just wanted to say is the dynamic that he brings as an actor, I think, is what makes him so successful as a writer, because he knows how to speak to an audience. He knows how to engage an audience, both on a comedic level and on a serious level.
He has some more serious stuff coming out in the near future. Can you pull up his? We're on IMDb on one of your 900 tabs that you have.
But now you
always
see why
open
I have
at all
them.
times. I suppose, yeah. So. The Long Shot, by the way, is the movie that we're going to be doing in a couple months for 321. So if anybody has not seen The Long Shot, spend some time. It's a fantastic movie, and when we do the 321 spoiler, let's get into it. So he's doing Darkwing Duck too. That's crazy.
That's gonna be dope. I love the fact that he's
just a producer on all
stuff.
this. Wow, that's pretty impressive. The stuff that he's involved with right now. Invincible's really big. The Boys is really big.
Yeah.
Preacher I know was pretty popular too. This is just producer credits though. Can you go to acting credits?
Yeah.
There we are. Oh, see, that's what he was. I saw him involved in the Pam and Tommy TV show.
Okay.
That they're doing. It's not out yet. Yeah. That's the one that's gonna have Sebastian Stan as Tommy Lee.
But yeah, he makes 2 appearances in Invincible, and I actually didn't know he was like as involved as he is. That's incredible. But you said he's coming out with some pretty serious stuff. I mean, when you look at what movie was I looking for? Nah, forget about it.
Forget about it. He's, from a talent perspective, there's not a lot of things that he does that I don't want to watch or be involved with. Right? I'll put it like that. So to hear that he's taken over the franchise and hopefully setting it on a path that we can all enjoy, that gets me excited. For sure, man. I'm as big as they come for TMNT. I mean, I have the van right there. So
it was a staple for many early episodes.
Yep, go find that video.
You know who's an actor that I think anytime he's a part of something, I have to watch it?
Carrot Top.
No, not an actor. He's more of an.
He's been in movies,
but he's an entertainer.
Let me spitball.
I'm gonna give you 2 more.
Let me spitball. David Spade.
Not unless Adam Sandler's involved.
Black Sheep. I mean, come on, dude.
Like I said, nothing without Adam Sandler.
Chris fucking Farley, bro.
Well, yeah, no, it's not recently. Recently.
Okay, all right. We'll put that caveat.
The old stuff is good stuff.
We're getting into not like
old stuff is
that's
good.
wild.
Dude. What is it? Dickie Roberts.
Okay.
Absolutely loved it.
Dewey Roberts.
It's Dickie Roberts.
Little Dickie Roberts.
No, Booger Sugar, dude.
Got it.
All right, you get one more guess.
One more guess. Rob Riggle.
Who's that?
Move on. Who cares?
So yeah, clearly I have no idea.
You know who Rob Riggle is if you see him.
I might. I know faces. I don't know names. But one name that I do know, Len. Give me some Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, you just like his name. His actual name.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And he's British.
But doesn't sound British when he acts.
No. Who would have thought that Wolverine was British? Everybody thought he was Canadian.
Canadian-esque.
And another one of those people that I can't imagine him playing anybody else. But he does have a new movie coming out, Len. And we had the opportunity to catch the trailer.
We did. We watched it about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah. Reminiscence.
We're reminiscing on Reminiscence.
We're reminiscing on watching the trailer for Reminiscence. When we first watched it, Len, we both kind of had a similar outlook on it, that it had a very Leo DiCaprio Inception theme to it.
Faux shizzle, bro.
Right? Oh, Shutter Island was another one that I was thinking of.
Okay, yeah.
Right?
So just another thing that Leo has been involved in.
Anything that Leo's been involved in, this feels like it's ripping that off.
So I do enjoy what we've done the past couple weeks with when we get these opportunities to watch trailers that me and you genuinely don't know anything about,
Yeah,
right?
about.
I kind of did that to you with Old last week.
Yes.
So this movie is a little funny, and then I like doing the couple of watch throughs that we do on the trailers because I feel like we pick up some interesting stuff along the way.
Yeah.
These types of trailers leave questions, and I think that's important, and it leads to you wanting to see the movies. But I do stand with the fact that same thing I said for Old last week, that if I just watched this as a 2.5 minute trailer, I feel like I've enjoyed it enough, and maybe
it looks like a really good movie.
Well, like the movie's just going to taint it. Like, I think like that's part of the issue I'm left with is that the movie actually has to live up to the questions that the trailer creates. And I don't know if it's going to do that or not. So we kind of get a movie that you said it's Inception-esque in the way that it seems as though they either they go into their subconscious or they maybe their memories are stored somewhere, right?
It almost makes your memories a place that you can visit, right?
Yeah.
It's like they get this contraption which involves them being wrapped in their head and being kind of dumped in a tub.
I think you have to be. It's one of those things where you have to be able to like your body's moving.
I understand what
I
you're
mean.
saying. Yeah, like a flotation tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Zero gravity. It almost seems like he's going back to a place to investigate a memory, and he's following these breadcrumbs to what it seems like finding his lost wife.
There's just some confusing stuff though, because he's like, "We'll do one last job," right? So do you think the memory is the one last job that he's going back? He's going back to his memory of telling her about the last job, and this is where she goes missing on this last job.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, they're throwing in the dynamic that everything before the waters came in was like when the waters hit, everything got crazy. And you had asked the question, like, did their last job
cause that at all?
Cause the dilemma that everybody's facing? And it almost felt to me like we were really entrenched in that era already. So it would have been tough for them to, I think, tell that story. But I do think that maybe they are jumping down memory lane, trying to figure out if he can pinpoint the route that his wife took to complete this final job.
Mm-hmm.
And they're also uncovering some things that he may not have known everything about her, which is really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can't imagine like anybody with a significant other that's like, I'd love to see every single thing that happens in their life when I'm not present.
Yeah, that sounds a little crazy, huh?
You know, like, because like the most innocent of things from any other perspective, but put in the perspective of your significant other, is a totally different thing. Like, why were you fucking talking to the delivery guy that way?
Yeah.
You know, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, you're talking about taking everything out of context.
That guy that they're a little too friendly with at work that you're just happy you don't. Like, it's out of sight, out of mind. Like, you don't give a fuck about it, but it's probably happening. And like, so I feel like all this guy's got to ending up doing is just like pissing himself. He's triggering himself, dude. He's
uncovering all this stuff that doesn't really seem like it's going to be productive, which makes me wonder, like, the storyline, the shots look pretty incredible. They're in this city that's kind of being engulfed by water.
Yep.
It all looks visually stimulating, but I cannot help but question, what's the storyline going to look like? How's the plot going to thicken?
Yeah, there's always ramifications for playing with time. I think we've seen that across pretty much any movie we've
Dragon
ever
Ball
watched,
Z.
right? Yeah. Yep.
Same thing.
Definitely. I remember that part.
Sorry.
So this has got to do something. We talked about this also. There's a piano. And one of the things that reminded me of Inception was obviously visually and kind of the story, like utilizing not dreams in this instance, but memories.
Yeah.
But in Inception, they have the little thing to let themselves know when they're in the dream and when they're not, like a little token.
Yeah.
The totem. Sorry, totem. So I wonder, and we wondered aloud, does this piano have some type of representation of the falling away from what reality actually is? Is this something to where when that piano hits the ground, you're permanently lost in some type of reality? You know what I mean?
Because he's risking his life, at least from what we can see, to get this piano back in his possession. But you got to wonder, man, like, that doesn't seem like the easiest token.
No,
to keep a hold of.
So that's where I assume it's not one that you bring, like,
Maybe it's something you see, and it's the consistency of what the reality is.
Maybe it's not specifically that the piano is something that's always there for him, but maybe in the part where he is in that, it's a representation of like the reality separating.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? So like it could have been anything in front of him, but you're basically just seeing a tear in the, because like all of a sudden it sinks into the ground and then he's in the water and you see him dying.
Going down to
then you see him chasing it.
Yeah.
But then you also see him dying.
And reaching up for what seems like
his wife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot of questions to be answered.
It's a really interesting trailer, man. And to your point earlier, I mean, I gave you a little bit of a hard time about Hugh Jackman. He is great. The only thing I haven't really watched with him is that musical that he did. The Great Escape. The Greatest
Showman.
Yeah, there we go.
The Great Escape. I almost went like, wow, that'd be a really good name for a musical.
Yeah.
But no, I have also not
but...
seen The Greatest Showman. But I will tell you, I've listened to the soundtrack and it sounds pretty awesome.
Okay. All right. I feel like you can basically watch it by listening to it.
I visually saw it while I was listening to it on the way home. But that wasn't the only trailer that we watched, right, Len?
Yeah, we got hit with some of the other hard stuff, dude. Right?
Tapped
into the veins.
Some people would say that we got teased a little bit.
With a little feather?
Yeah. So somebody was teasing us. And at first glance...
Would you ever be a fluffer?
I don't feel like I want to answer that on air. Next thing I know, dude, I get hit in the comments with everybody offering me.
All right, like dude,
get
like hypothetically, like 10 times your 10 times your yearly salary to be a fluffer.
Does everybody know that I'm a fluffer?
Well, you have a business card.
Is it Matt the Fluffer?
It says like Matt in big letters, and then it just says like in smaller like subheader, like
the fluff
the
guy.
fluffer, yeah, or like the fluffer nutter.
Well, I can't be
the
like
nut fluffer.
I can't be fluff. Whoa. Fluffer nutter? That actually, I need to get a sponsor. Like I'd have to be sponsored by Fluff.
Oh yeah, like by is that the brand? Is it just Fluff?
I don't know if the brand is Fluff or if the content.
But I think there's only one kind of Fluff, and I think it's the Fluff brand.
It's like Windex at this point.
Yeah, or Kleenex.
Kleenex, yeah, Kleenex would have been a way better.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going with this.
No, but I do still want to have your answer. You can't just get out of that. Like, right, people. He has to answer whether or not for 10 times his salary.
So 10 times my salary, I am a fluffer. But who am I fluffing?
Like, okay, is the status of these people important to you?
Well, it would depend. So, like, if it's a run-of-the-mill, like, porn industry studio, I don't want to be fluffing those people.
Well, that's basically who you'd be fluffing. Do you think,
well, so you're also missing the point that a fluffer goes both ways. Like, I can fluff the girls as well.
I want to make it. I'm not going to make you answer that one. It's easier for me to have you answer the guy stuff. So
it's not going the way you wanted it to.
Well, no, that's perfectly fine if you get to fluff the ladies, but like I don't know exactly what that entails.
Yeah,
I think I have a better understanding of what it entails for the male side of things.
Yeah. I'll just put on porn videos.
But if it's not like a run of the mill studio, would it have to be like you're at so when they do nude scenes, it plays, and the guy's like, I have to look like a certain level.
It has always been rumored for the tenure of her career that Jennifer Lopez had a fluffer. And do you know what her fluffer did?
Like primped up her ass?
He would play with her nipples so that her nipples looked perky on TV. Rumor that has not been proven. Hit me in the comments if I'm full of shit or if you've confirmed that rumor.
Is that true?
I can neither confirm nor deny. But I have heard, and this is not one of those ghostwriter types. We're
going to have a really, really horny couple minutes on this podcast. Did you see that there's like supposed to be like an X-rated cut of Basic Instinct?
What have I done? Yeah, I mean, because the only thing that movie is remembered for is the fact that Sharon Stone is showing her hooter.
Dude, I rewatched. Sorry. I've rewatched in the past because when I read that was a thing, I was like, well, I don't remember that scene all that well. So I was like, let me do some research, right? So I pulled up that scene, dude. That scene is electric.
Yeah.
She is like money, dude. Oh, yeah. It was fantastic.
There's a reason why I said that's the only scene that people really remember from that movie.
And the fact that she's like, yeah, there's way steamier cuts of that movie where I'm just like, fucking Michael Douglas. She's like, I hope it never, she's trying to stop it from getting made, which I kind of get, but.
Well, she probably doesn't want it out there considering everything that we know about Michael Douglas, but I can certainly understand that. But listen, man, I mean, back then that was like prime time, like entertainment. Like chicks didn't have OnlyFans back then.
They just you had
to pay for content to be able to see a celebrity's cooter.
That's fair, yeah. Now tying it all together, this now becomes a Seth Rogen full circle. Remember, in Knocked Up, they're trying to create the Mr. Skin website, basically.
Yes, and basically they're like, we're just going to tell you the minute clips of every nude celebrity movie.
Yeah.
And I love it. Do you know the movie that they're watching?
I don't remember it right now, no.
It's the one with Denise Richards.
Oh, Wild Things.
Wild Things.
Yeah,
There we go.
one of the most, oh, dude, top 5 idea. Don't steal this. Top 5, like, movie sex scenes. Dude, because that's an all-timer.
Okay, Lenny, just FYI/FYE, I just put in, does J-Lo have a fluffer? And one of the very first thing that comes up is job of the day, nipple tweaker for the stars. So I don't imagine she's the only one who's doing it.
So you do it for less than 10 times your salary.
Yeah, absolutely. Where do I sign?
Didn't you just tell me that you didn't think J-Lo was hot like yesterday?
Right. But imagine if you were getting paid just for nipple play.
You're right.
I also feel like I'd have to get training.
To be fair, we could probably get paid for nipple play like just ourselves by starting an OnlyFans.
To be continued. I think that's something we discuss later on.
And thus completes the horniest 5 minutes we've ever had on this podcast.
We said we were going to slim that down to about 3 minutes, and I think it worked. Well, we'll wrap it up with this. Someone that I find extremely attractive, both for the way that she looks and for the way that she is able to perform, Emma Stone. I think I can say that without being disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about how much I enjoyed Cruella.
Yeah.
We've just heard the news that Cruella 2 has been signed and stamped for approval, which means Emma Stone is coming back. I was excited to hear about it. I'm even more excited that you have since last week watched the movie.
Yeah, we can have a real combo about it.
And I'd love to hear what you thought.
I think it's okay. I'll start with my rating. Chips. I think it's chips, bro.
Okay.
I was so chipsy on this.
Okay.
I was a thing of masterpiece potato chips on this one.
Okay.
And the problem with it being chips.
Elaborate.
The problem with it being chips is the length. I think all of this comes back to the length of the movie, which because you were 100% accurate when you brought up her performance.
Okay.
She's great.
Okay.
She is really, really good, right? Jasper, really good. Horace, really good. The Dalmatians, pretty good. The Baroness, fucking awesome, right? I think all of the performances are really, really strong.
So where did we lose you?
I think it's just about 20 minutes too long for me.
Okay.
And that's where it kind of...
And I know that that's important to you.
It always is, because I just found myself in the beginning of the movie, there could have been less of the little kid, I think. And not that it was bad either. But yeah, I guess maybe it's not. I've struggled on the rating part of it. I just didn't come away from it being like, that was great.
Okay.
Whereas I think a lot of people I've talked to have basically come away with like, it was very good.
Okay. Yeah. And that's not just our consensus and the people that we talk to. I think as far as what I've read, the reviews are raving about this movie.
Yeah.
But I can certainly understand where you're coming from about it being too long. Because you do kind of feel like there's some story there that can be trimmed. Right?
I also don't, at some point, I guess I don't understand the tie-in to 101 Dalmatians for me at this point. Like, we said this before the movie ever came out, right? Like, she's the bad guy, no?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does she become the bad guy? Because, like, she was not great in this. Like,
my dear Lenny.
I understand where she wasn't great in this, but, like, we're just going to get her going more down that path, I guess. But I don't want to see that. I think that's the issue with having somebody like Emma Stone in the role, is like, she's supposed to have become the bad guy, but I don't want to. I did hate her a little bit, but I don't want to hate her.
We didn't get that from the first movie.
I don't want to hate her. Well, I think
if anything, you're rooting for her.
I think they did an okay job of making her unlikable when, like, because I thought I really liked Jasper, and I like, I think I could empathize a little bit with that type of character, where it's like, I think I look at that and I'm like, yeah, he really, really likes her, and he's willing to, like, just stick it out and do anything he can and, like, you know, stick through that. But eventually he's like, she just starts treating him like shit, and he's like, I still want to stick around because I've loved this girl since I was a little fucking kid.
Don't you think that's kind of realistic though?
It is.
Being the hopeless romantic and kind of hoping that the one you love is going to, conform to your way of thinking.
But it just goes back to my thing of, like, I know, like, I did dislike her in that moment, but I just don't want to dislike Emma Stone's character in movies. You know, I just don't find her character there.
Let me throw one particular scene at you. There is a scene where she gives the Dalmatians a look, And then the very next scene is her coming out in a Dalmatian coat.
Yeah, yeah.
And the press is and social
She
media is
creates
all
the
over the
narrative.
fact,
Yeah.
like, did she kill these dogs? And you can kind of understand where that might have kind of taken a villain turn, but they don't take that turn. They actually do the opposite, right? Well, I won't spoil it, but
You basically just did. So
I
we
do
can just
understand.
talk about it.
No, I just wrapping this up with a bow. I just think that they did everything that they could to give you some backstory for this first movie. We've probably got a little while before we really understand how she became the dark Cruella that we come to know from the Disney originals. But I think,
Do you think it's going to be as a result of heartbreak from Jasper?
no, I think it could possibly be heartbreak from someone else.
Okay.
To me, Jasper and Horace are just those lackeys who
So he's never going to get any
they're like
play.
her little brothers. I think that's how she sees them. I think he loves her and will do anything to make her happy. And if I were to watch the animated version of 101 Dalmatians, he ends up being this grumpy old guy who roommates with his buddy, and he just does everything that this woman wants. Sounds pretty realistic to me.
But he's not grumpy.
Not yet.
I just don't see those characters, like the way they set it up in this movie. It just doesn't feel like these people felt too genuine for me to really
They're very young,
see
my dear Leonard.
They're not that dude.
Yeah, listen, in the
She's
narrative,
they're in her 30s at the point where we're seeing them in this movie.
yeah, but
Right?
Cruella DeVille in the movies,
Like
Glenn Close,
is
dude,
like,
come on.
Yeah, she's older, I guess. But
Huh. You've got some time, man. Everybody can experience heartache, and I think that I think it does do a good job of setting up a second movie.
I think the performances, again, like, yeah,
Okay.
Chips may be unfair in some ways.
It's your rating.
I just struggle to give it. I just can't. Movies don't need to be 2 hours and 15 minutes long. Like you could have cut 15 to 20 minutes off this movie and made it just a little bit brisker of a watch.
Yeah.
And I think I would have enjoyed a little bit more of it. Maybe. I'm trying to think, though, to me bringing that up and like critiquing my own criticism. Like, what do I think they could have really trimmed off for scenes? I'd have to rewatch the movie maybe one more time to really say that.
Yeah, did you watch it in the theater or did you watch it at home?
Theater.
I'd be interested to see what you think when you watch it at home.
Yeah.
If that's a fair notion. I think that while it may have seemed long in the theater...
Here's the problem, dude. I'm not good at watching movies at home.
Yeah, okay.
Like, I'm just not, like... The best assessment I give of movies is from the movie theater because it's the least inhibited I am by other things to distract me. Movies, I'm such like a product of this. No, sure, that too. But I'm such a product of like modern, I don't know, like TV tendencies and everything where like I'll watch a movie at home for 35 minutes of like a movie like that. Like how I said, the first 15, 20, 30 minutes of that movie don't really get me that into it, you know, that would end up with me going and playing a game of MLB The Show and then coming back to it at a different time, or I'd be on my phone and that loses some of the
But jump ahead a little bit to maybe the scene where she's a drunk mess and she redesigns the store.
No, that's an awesome scene.
Right?
That's really good.
I think that's where it picks up, and from there you're really kind of thrust into what the movie is supposed to be.
Do you think that the Baroness looks kind of fucking ridiculous for not being able to figure out that it was her?
Yeah. The fact that
was
a little
also
bit
like,
of paint on the face, like this girl's bone structure is pretty
well, and there's times like when she's on the garbage truck, right?
Yeah.
And she doesn't
Broad
have
daylight.
anything like covering her. It was nighttime, I
Was
think,
it?
but it was well lit. It was like because it was like an event.
Yeah.
But I don't think that she had anything covering her face, and that's where I was kind of confused.
She just had makeup on. Yeah, like she had dark makeup on.
Even when she first meets Baroness.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little weird, like the fact that like you could probably I can tell your voice, dude.
I don't know. It is weird. There's a lot of things that
I guess she's so self-involved that she wouldn't remember something like that, maybe.
But then you're expecting me to really understand the perspective of a character, right? Like if I'm the Baroness, everyone bows to me, and I don't really deal with anybody, which would be realistic to why a girl who she thinks is very talented, in the grand scheme of things, could no way, shape, or form be this person who is my my nemesis.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. There's a lot of different ways that you can go with it, buddy. I'm glad that you watched it.
I'm gonna give it another watch to give it a fair shake. I think once it's a little bit more available than $30 to watch at home.
I might have to dig into the budget for you, buddy.
Nah, I don't need you to
I think we're gonna do that.
I don't need you to do that.
We'll talk to the accountant. But all right, so that's what you've watched. We've got a few things to look forward to this week coming up.
One glaringly obvious one.
I didn't want to be the one to say it was blatantly obvious,
It's
but
completely obvious.
yeah, it's low key obvious.
It's high key obvious.
And we're talking about Loki, people. Loki, by the time you guys get to watch this, will have already dropped.
Yeah, it's out tomorrow.
Starts
so
tomorrow,
Wednesday.
June 9th.
This is the one issue that we always run into with our recording schedule, right?
Yeah, we
Is
don't
that,
have a
like,
time machine at
it
this
just
point.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't line up always perfectly for us. So we'll get you with a review next week. But yeah, as of right now, I know I'm actually gonna watch the first episode. I'm not gonna let anything build up. I'm gonna be in there.
Yeah, that's good to hear. That's refreshing for me. I'm certainly gonna be on board first watch.
Big Owen Wilson fan, this guy. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
Yeah, I for me, both actors can't miss. So I'm more than geared up for that. I'm also, again, being optimistic about the Bad Batch on Friday. I certainly will be watching that. But what else do you got going on?
I mean, we have some MMA this weekend. Huge UFC card, UFC 263.
Huge.
Make sure to check out our breakdown, our predictions. We're gonna have that video up this week as well. The big fight for me on that one. Nate Diaz, like always, gonna show up for that.
Buddy.
He's a superstar. Can't wait for it. Outside of that, I don't think I have a ton of other stuff. I mean, like, obviously, Loki, I'm looking forward to. Not going to watch The Bad Batch. Anything else? I don't think there's anything coming out on Friday this week that looked all that.
Infinite is coming out this week. Comes out the 10th, yes.
Okay, all right. So there's the other thing I'll probably be watching.
I just threw it out there because that'll be what I plan on watching so that we can probably do a quick review on it next week.
Perfect. I look forward to that. Anything for you? Anything else?
Man, that's it.
There's no soccer on the docket?
No soccer. The United States just won the CONCACAF Nations League. Shout out to Christian Pulisic. It sets them up for the Copa America, which is the bigger tournament that they'll be playing.
If you win the
weeks.
Copa
Cabana? No, America.
Couldn't finish it.
I like where you had that.
But either way, if you win that championship, do you then make it to, like, is that how you play in the World
Cup?
Yeah.
No, the World Cup has its own qualifying bracket where you have to win usually the most amount of games out of 6 than everyone else in the pool. And the U.S. is kind of teetering on qualifying for the World Cup, so hopefully they can turn it around.
Nice. And that's Matt's Manchester Minute.
And that's all you're getting, people. If you want more, what do they got to do, Len?
Well, so I had one last thing for you, Matt. I mean, and they do have to hit you in the comments with whoever their favorite football team is. But I had a question, and this popped into my head yesterday, and I want to leave us with a little, like, weird thinking.
We know
of my
where these
brain,
go,
right? So I stopped on my way to work yesterday, Matt, and I stopped at a Burger King, right? And I order chicken nuggets and French fries. But it got me to thinking about onion rings.
Okay.
And I was trying to figure out, does, like, Burger King have a monopoly on the onion ring game in fast food?
Yes.
But, like, and why is that? Did they patent the fast food onion ring?
No, I just think that, like all things, like, let's say McDonald's French fries, for instance. Why do their French fries taste so much better than a lot of other people's French fries?
I think that was once the fact, but right? Yeah, sure. I actually don't eat McDonald's.
I don't eat McDonald's
either.
Yep. I can't make that opinion. But what I would say is that Burger King got in so early, and they got the ingredients and the chemistry just right to the point where anyone else that even tried it, it didn't last very long.
But still, dude.
Because you remember Wendy's had onion rings.
Did they?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember that.
No one does because didn't do that well.
What was their take? Was it like, because, like, dude,
Wendy's, we got the rings. I couldn't tell you.
We got the rings. We got the rings.
Man, you're in a singing. Okay, man, we're gonna give you your own moment to just flesh out those songs.
I'm a huge fan of the onion rings over there. And it just was like, damn, like, why? I would like to go somewhere else and be like, I could order these onion rings. But
do you like onion rings, the potato chip?
No.
Like
Funyuns?
The chips? No, not Funyuns. So
I feel like you're asking me about Funyuns.
Onion rings, not Funyuns, because I don't like Funyuns, but I like onion rings.
But what would be the point in eating an onion ring if it wasn't fun?
No, you're an idiot. The name has nothing to do with the fact that those it doesn't taste as good.
Let's do a taste test. Buy some. We'll do it on.
All right, we'll do a taste test on Funyun rings versus onion rings. I think that
you just used.
Why do I feel like this taste test is just going to be me eating both of them and you telling me which one you think by the looks of it is better?
No, I'll give them a shot. I've never had a Funyun.
About that one.
Never had a Funyun.
But that is an interesting take. If you guys have any history knowledge on why Burger King's got the goods when it comes to onion rings, that's certainly something that Lenny's in on. I'm genuinely not interested because I feel like I already know.
Dude, but like, I guess they put onion strings on some burgers at Wendy's, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe.
Answer this for me. Your favorite fast food chain. What is it?
Chick-fil-A.
Oh,
you weren't asking.
Do they count? I don't like. That's the other thing is like, there's so much new age fast food. I think when I ask your favorite fast food chain, it's like there's the standard 3.
So Burger King, McDonald's, Wendy's.
Yeah, but then because then there's all these other tiers.
Yeah, but
do
dude,
you
think
include
about
like
people who
Taco Bell?
live-
Like Steve, I know you would include Taco Bell as your favorite.
I would include Taco Bell.
That's your favorite.
Well,
Or?
for chicken quesadillas.
But I think we need to have like a blanket.
Nah,
Like if you couldn't order any other fast food place ever again, you had to choose one and show your loyalty, or you could maybe they could trade you. Maybe it's like a sports thing. But like if you had to choose one fast food to stick with, what would it be? And you don't have to answer it right now, man. We can get back around to it.
I'll answer right now. It's Chick-fil-A. It's not even close.
Chick-fil-A?
Easy. Very easy.
I think I know what mine is too.
Yeah? What is it?
I think it's well, okay. Let me
You don't know.
Fuck, I think I know. But I want to ask, does Sarku Japan
No.
count?
See, nope. Doesn't have a drive-through.
It has to have a drive-through?
We've had this argument about fast food.
I still don't know.
We had this argument about fast food.
So
Fast food has to have a drive-through.
All right, so then I can, by theory,
like
I can't say Five Guys.
Five Guys isn't fast food because
they
take at least 10 to 15 minutes to cook your damn burger, and then they take 20 minutes to cook your fries.
All right, well, I have 2 ideas then. I was gonna say Pizza Hut because they are part of Kintako Huts, which would be
they're not universal.
Fuck
They're not
you,
universal.
Fuck you! You
No,
can't take that
you
away
can't.
from me. You fucking can't take that away from me. We're running out of time.
We're
here,
running out
buddy.
of time, and this debate is way too. We get way too entrenched in this debate. I'm gonna throw up a poll on Instagram, and I need to know: is a fast food restaurant categorized by the fact that it has a drive-through?
Okay,
that's question number 1.
We've done this before.
Question
Yeah,
number
we
2,
suck.
but I need the people to know.
Yeah.
Question number 2 is, God damn it, no. Okay.
Well, question number 1 is that, and then question number 2 is just, what is your favorite fast food place?
I think that should be number 1.
No, I mean, sure, whatever.
We'll flip it either way.
Do your thing,
in the interest of time, we're going to put those 2 questions out there, but we need you to give me an elaborate answer. You can't be throwing in like In-N-Out Burger because In-N-Out Burger isn't everywhere. I think that's fair.
That's fair. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So hit us in the chat.
I don't know how many states it has to be available, but yeah, hit us in the chat.
It has to be popular. I think that makes sense. Hit us in the chat. Subscribe, like, comment. At For Those Good Tastes on Instagram.
At Good Taste Live on Twitter.
And we'll catch you guys next week. Make sure you catch Tale of the Tape, UFC 263, because it's out probably at the same time that you're finishing this video.
Hopefully we'll have an air conditioner because Matt's shining bright
Like a diamond.
Love you.
We're out, guys.
Peace.
That was smooth. Did you see me?
For those with good taste.